Good evening and welcome to the business meeting of February 26, 2026. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I apologize for being a little late. We had an executive session for 17 matters of the employment history of 17 particular persons, and it just took us a little longer than we thought. So I'm going to open it up to public comment on the listed agenda items. As a reminder, this is a meeting of the Board of Education that is open to the public. If you wish to comment at this meeting, we ask that you please be aware of all the protocols for public comment. The protocols are listed on the back of the public agendas that are available in the meeting room. They're also posted on signage in the meeting room and are on the district website. Okay, the treasurer's report for December of 2025 is available in the business office. We are going to move to the consent agenda. Mr. Oliverio.
Resolved to approve the consent agenda items 2 through 7 as presented to the board at this meeting.
Second.
Questions or comments? Mrs.
The
Bellino?
consent agenda includes approval of the last meeting's minutes, CSE, CPSE placements, substitute listing for the rest of the school year, additional or unpaid work hours for various staff members. The board is extending an unpaid leave of absence for a staff member, and the board is approving an unpaid leave of absence for another staff member.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The resolutions pass. Our presentations tonight are going to be on budget planning for special ed and facilities and operations. And who gets to go first? Dr. Luck?
So we're going to invite up Ms. Melissa Estrella and Ms. Christina Fiel to do our special education budget program overview. Welcome.
I'm usually too short, so now this evening I won't be. So tonight I'm presenting alongside Christina Fiel, our new supervisor of special education. And I just have to take a quick moment. I know some of you have already met Ms. Fiel, but for those of you that haven't, she started in July, right at the start of our extended school year program, and jumped right in. She was supporting with our new programs, from curriculum design to supporting our new teachers, didn't skip a beat. So we're so happy and thankful to have Ms. Fiel with us. And tonight she'll talk about some of our programming, okay? So for this evening, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at overall enrollment, not just special education, but overall enrollment for the district. We're going to talk about how that leads our new programming, our staff training. Our staff training is really driven by the needs of our students and how that changes every year. And then we're also going to talk about our pathways to high school, right? So we're going to take a look from kindergarten all the way to high school. Okay, total enrollment. So if you take a look at the top, what we've done is we're taking a look at the last 4 years. So these numbers are any students that enroll from, say, September, April, it doesn't matter when, also kindergarten students. So if we take a look at 22-23, we had a total enrollment of 215 new students. Of that, though, 113 were new incoming kindergarten students. Of that number, we had about 9 kindergarten students that came through that were from our special education, that received special education services. Now, if we fast forward to 25-26, just to right before all of the snow, we had a total of 208 students already enrolled in the district, and we're only, in February, mid-February. Of that, though, 110, so about half, were our new kindergarten students. Of the 208 students, 38 students came to us in need of special education services. And additionally, we had 25 students from our special education preschool program that came through. Next year, we're looking at about 20 students potentially for kindergarten that will be in need of special education services to some degree.
And Melissa, I just want to make a point. I just don't want anyone to think that these are total overall enrollment. 'Cause it's
Overall.
not. So,
Overall.
Just overall new students.
correct.
Overall
New
new
to the
students to the district.
Okay, thank you.
So one of the things that we kind of want to highlight is on many occasions, parents come to us, especially our new students, our new kindergarten students. Their parents often say to us that they move to the district really looking for the supports of special education services. And that really speaks volumes to our teachers and our staff here that have really supported our students within special education. So if we take a look at kindergarten, correct? We're looking at about 20 students potentially needing special education services. And what that means is we really want to provide the earliest of interventions possible. Of the 20 students potentially coming in, about 1/3 may require highly specialized programs. And that's our smaller programs that really target sensory-friendly environments, social-emotional learning. With that, what we're doing is we're taking a look, we're anticipating that we're going to have specialized staffing needs, meaning that we're taking a look that we may have the need of one more special education teacher along with teaching assistants and aides to support our new programming at these very early ages. What we're doing with that is we have to make sure that our resources are allocated appropriately, meaning do we need new technologies? Do we need AAC devices? And what resources do we need within the classroom to support this new programming? Another area that we have to look at is our overall enrollment within special education, not just through Putnam Valley view, but our region and also the state. So if we take a look here, I'm sorry that this is slightly small, so I'll read to you. We take a look at our New York State report card, which gives us the regional data from 24-25. Putnam Valley had 14% of its total enrollment of students receiving special education services. It's slightly higher than where we would like, around 13% that the state encourages. But if you take a look, we're well below New York State, which is at 20% in some of our neighboring districts. But what this is telling us is that we have a long-term plan to support our students that are requiring special education services. And what we'll do now is Ms. Field will talk to us a little bit more about our programs.
Sorry, I don't need the box. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what's been going on up at the high school. So our RISE program, which is Reaching Independence Through Support and Education, is in its freshman year at the high school. It's a highly specialized program designed to support students who need very intense academic support, social emotional behavior, and activities of daily living. So we're very excited about that and all the work that's been happening there. We've also, as a part of that, we have our staff that work in our RISE program that have really helped foster connections within the greater high school community, and that's really been achieved through Best Buddies. They've had a lot of authentic opportunities to engage with their peers. They've created events for the program, but also helped facilitate our RISE students feeling comfortable in things like Color Wars, which this year was my first year, and I saw firsthand how big that was, so it was nice to see all of our students be able to participate. And then additionally, as a program, we've been reaching out to expand our community partnerships. So we recently worked with the Inclusion Center right down the road to create inter-district opportunities. So we did a visit with another high school with a similar program, again, just to offer our students some more social opportunities. And then lastly is that school-wide support. We've been really lucky at the high school where the program's been fully embraced. Both by all the faculty that work in the program. I don't want to miss anybody, so I'm not going to list names, but they have gone above and beyond in participating in meetings to help create systems and structures that are meaningful for our students, but also so that way it mirrors that of their peers. And then also the high school admin team, so Dr. Payne and Matt Mello, they have committed to having weekly meetings, again, to creating systems and structures to not only get through this year, but continue to create a program that's going to thrive.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Is RISE a different program than the New Horizons that we see in the elementary and middle, or is it sort of an
It's the high school.
high school
yeah.
version? Okay.
Yeah. So here we're talking, so up on top, and again, it's a little small, we went and looked back at the last 2 years, and we wanted to look at our students with disabilities and what paths they took after high school. Generally speaking, 70% all went on to some post-secondary education, be it 2 or 4 years, with some of our students going off to the workforce and then in 2024 going into the armed forces. So for our internal foundation, so this is where we are right now. We have school-based internships really throughout the high school, and this is really focusing on developing their skills and independence. And this is for our students that are staying beyond a traditional 4-year. Some of our students with IEPs will stay with us beyond just that 18th year, or the year they turn 18, their senior year, while they're still working on be it their program or their requirements for graduation. Where we're going is we want to look at more community expansion. So expanding our internships to no longer just be in the high school, but to really be throughout the community through partnerships, creating job shadowing, and really help facilitating that transition to employment.
Okay, so our professional development this year, we've been quite busy. We're continuing many of the efforts that we started over the last couple of years, one of the areas being in our mental health and social emotional learning. We have pilots going on right now to do DBT counseling sessions. We're rolling out Character Strong, which is an evidence-based program for social emotional learning within our middle school. And we're going to be rolling that out to our elementary next year. That'll also include Tier 2 supports. So we're really strengthening and being able to support our students in various areas that they need for very short periods of time. We also are taking a look at our tech areas. So what we've been doing is the last couple of years, we've been inviting outside resources into the school to provide training for our assistants, as well as our teachers and related service providers that work with AAC devices to support our students with increasing their communication. And we're going to continue that. We're also taking a look at our inclusive models, meaning our ICT, our integrated co-teaching frameworks. So what that means is we're taking a look at new strategies and ways to strengthen our ICT classes to provide new and innovative supports for our students.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
Sorry. Who is, for the mental health and SEL, for the Character Strong that you're implementing, last year I remember the counselors were teaching the SEL, which was now this year that has changed. I believe it's like the gym teacher.
So the Character Strong is being led by our school psychologists and counselors in small groups that are at a tiered level of supports.
So does every student receive it?
Yes, in the middle school, we are starting to roll it out in that area. Yes, it's a new program.
So
We've
not just special ed, like Gen? Okay.
Yes.
And how is it going to be rolled out in the elementary school?
Next year.
And
So
also by the psychologists and the counselors, or by?
both, potentially. Right now, we're looking at our counselors starting in the elementary level.
Great, thank you.
Melissa, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The AAC integration, I know it states under here what it is, but can you talk to it more? So, because it's a little hard to see.
So there's various programs, but what we can do is we can take a look at an iPad that would have core words. These are words that we use throughout our day to get us our different needs and our wants, and also to communicate with others. So using an AAC device, if a student has difficulty with being able to verbally, we would use an AAC device and a blend.
Thank you.
Next year, looking at budgeting, part of it. So we've already spoken to the fact that we may be looking at hiring a special education teacher as well as support staff based upon CSE, the Committee on Special Education recommendations. But what we're also doing is we've started to look at Medicaid revenue. So what that means is we're taking a look at getting reimbursed for some of our related services that are within the Medicaid umbrella. Right now, we're anticipating that potentially our gross would be around 100,000, net around 50 because the state takes. But this could be a nice general fund revenue. And then, as Christina already spoke to, our internship opportunities. So what we've already done is we've begun asking some of our community members, which is what we're doing now as well, small businesses that may want to offer internships to our students next year. And we're going to start really targeting our staff here for those connections that they may have in the community. And since we're here with the community, we can also ask for any support there as well. Okay? And then we have some of our really wonderful pictures of our programs here. Christina spoke to, Ms. Field spoke to the bottom corner. What we did is another school district met us, and we had different stations available for the students to all mingle and get to know one another and try new games or crafts. It was a very nice day. Okay, any questions or thoughts?
I just want to compliment the department on the good works that you do for these children. It's just outstanding. And the care and the devotion that goes into guiding them for a better future and to be as inclusive as possible. We can't praise it enough. That extra position, the numbers certainly warrant that. They are very high. Will this cover everything you're anticipating for next year, that one position? Because I was looking at maybe a 1.5 myself for that increase in numbers.
We're anticipating one staff member would be supportive, especially we're really looking at our younger grades, K1 grades.
Yeah.
That would be the support that we would need.
Okay, thank you.
And for long term as well. So we want to make sure that if we're bringing somebody on board, that this is for a long term.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Real quick, I'm sorry.
You don't get away that easy.
Guess not.
On the regional data slide, you mentioned, so we're at 14%, and you mentioned 13% is the state encourages that? What do you mean by that?
13.
Yeah, but
so-
like when you say the state encourages, I don't understand what that.
So we're always looking to support. So for instance, we're really targeting our early intervention supports. The state encourages the least restrictive environment, meaning as close to general education as possible. So in order to do that, you're providing intense supports now so that as students grow and take in the skills and strategies that they've been taught, that they will then be able to be in a general education atmosphere as close as possible.
Right.
And so the state encourages around 13% would be your target. But with our growth, we're also supporting our students.
Great. Thank you. Thank you both very much.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I just want to state first, I couldn't be more proud of Melissa and Christina. And while Melissa is not new to the district, both are new to their positions this year. And I think just looking at the slide that talks about the growth within our program speaks volumes to the services we're able to offer students. I want to point out for every one of these students we educate in district, many neighboring districts outsource at a much higher cost to taxpayers in the community. If you're unable to provide the services in-house, the tuition for some of these students is upwards of hundreds of thousands of dollars per child to send them out of district. And with the highly specialized and skilled teachers and support staff we have here, we're able to meet the needs of many of these students, which is part of the reason why you see the numbers that we see here. I think the fact that 208 students that have already moved into our district this year is a huge nod to the work that happens here each and every day. The fact that 200 students, of which 98 of them are not kindergarten enrollees, so 98 have moved in from grades 1 through grades 12, speaks volumes to the services that we're able to provide these students, regardless of whether they're classified in special education or not. To the staffing point, we used to have classes that spanned 3 grade levels for some of these specialized programs to meet the needs of our students. What we've seen recently is those classes have gone from 3 levels to 2 levels to even 1 level. So now we're talking about a small group instructional space for a class of only kindergartners. And if that trend continues, we will likely see and require an increase in the number of special education staff, because rather than one teacher covering those students across 3 grade levels, we now have that same one teacher
Exactly.
covering a single grade level. So I don't want anyone to be surprised if that number continues to grow from 19 3 years ago to 38 last year, that that's growth is going to, even if it stays at 38 every year moving forward, it's still going to require at least one class for each grade level moving forward. The alternative is to pay tuition for these students to go elsewhere, which would cost the district significantly more. So I think we could provide a better service for these students. We can keep them with their peers, and we can keep our costs as low as possible by continuing to educate them here. And that's only made possible because of the work of Melissa and Christina and your staff. So thank you both, thank your staff for everything they do, and thank you for supporting our students.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay, our next budget planning presentation is facilities and operations.
So we'd like to welcome up Mr. David Spittle. It's going to be a hard act to follow. Do you need the box? Yes or no?
I brought it in here.
You're like 6'6"
No, I
now.
don't think you need.
A little high.
Yeah.
It's a little intimidating.
Yeah. I think I have the technology, I can remove it.
Dan?
I even got Brian to turn the fan off for a minute. I was texting him. Good evening, everybody. Tonight, I'm going to talk. Let me fix this. Operations guy should be able to figure this out. There we go. So tonight, I'm going to talk about energy costs in the district, specifically sustainable energy initiatives and how they've saved us money, facilities and transportation, and building a future of financial strength and resilience. So sustainable energy for sustainable schools. Here, I'm going to talk about about utilizing existing resources on district properties such as geothermal, solar, and energy conservation measures to reduce CO2 emissions and mitigate the impact of rising energy prices on budgets and student programs. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is oil use and geothermal savings, then a reduction of CO2 emissions, do a little bit of electricity savings, and the budget impact from soaring electricity prices, and then a combined oil and energy and electricity savings. So this is important. Pay attention to this for a minute. I'm going to reference these guideposts in the rest of my presentation. Is the history of Putnam Valley and the energy use we use in the buildings here. 1935, the elementary school was built with coal-fired heat, and then switched to oil in the 50s. And then we built the middle school in 1972, and it had baseboard electric heat, which is the most inefficient and expensive heating system you could use. But I guess it was cheap to install. So then in 1998, a man named Paul Lee was our business official back then, was really a visionary, and did an energy performance contract at the middle school to get rid of that electric baseboard heat and use that savings from getting rid of that heating system to pay for geothermal over there. And so he liked the geothermal concept and liked the results of that installation so much that when they built this high school in 2000, he decided, and the board at that time decided to build this school with geothermal as its only heating and cooling source. So this campus here has never used oil at all. So never has an oil delivery been made here. Which is pretty cool. 2018 was the next big move we made, and as an energy performance contract. We put a lot of solar installations. We did LED lighting upgrades throughout the district, a building management system, and we reduced electricity demand by about 1/3. And then we also, at the other campus, did a ground source heating in other words, a geothermal system at the elementary school, and we were only able to afford 27 wells, which gave us about a third of that school heating and cooling with geothermal. Recently, the voters in this community approved a bond that is enabling us to do another geothermal project at the elementary school, which will complete the elementary school and get the entire district off of oil. And we'll also have a solar installation on the wellness center that will also help reduce electricity. So by 2028, I'm hoping 27, but by 2028, Putnam Valley will be the first school district in the entire country that has 100% geothermal heating and cooling across all buildings and achieving zero oil use district-wide.
I'm sorry.
Great job.
I think that's great.
Me too.
I can't, it's a
Exciting.
huge accomplishment, so,
Yeah,
thank you.
it's good stuff. We're starting to get recognized nationally on that. It's one of the reasons why we got that Green Ribbon Award. So first I'm going to talk about the oil savings, and you can see the history of those events and how it affected our oil use here. So I have data back from 2010, and from 2010 to 2018, when we did that energy performance contract, this blue line is what the actual use was, but the red line which shows the average, and it was about 43,000 gallons of oil a year was used at that elementary school for heating, and that was on average, and it goes back further. And then the 2018 EPC, we were able to reduce it, and you can see the average there. We got it down to about 30,000 gallons a year. The blue line, it would have been better, but we had the windows open during COVID, and that blew our electric bill, our heating bill up a little bit over there. And then you see that big drop in 27, 28 to zero, which means we're going to use zero oil. Here's an analysis of the savings. This combines the actual oil use with the price. So you see huge peaks and valleys here because you have a cold winter and high pricing on oil. One point, that real 2015, 16, I guess the price per gallon was about $1.50 something, and it was not that cold a winter. And then you can see prior to that in 2013, it must have been a cold winter, and the prices were a little higher. Anyway, so you'll see the savings. That red line starts to happen in 2019 when we had the geothermal implementation over there, and so that represents the savings. And then the red line goes to the top, and we'll end up saving, about $140,000 a year. That depends on the cost of oil. I have it at $3.30 as my estimate ongoing. A gallon. I don't know whether that's conservative or not. It does fluctuate, but you can if it goes down, it'll be less of a savings. So all of my slides here will show a 20-year stretch that goes back to the EPC 2018 and goes forward to my predictions for 2038 and 39. And so that 20-year stretch, our oil savings from just the elementary school is $2 million. This had me thinking about what the savings from the middle school and high school geothermal installations would have been. So what I did was I took the gallons used per square foot per year at the elementary school, because we actually had another building that was just on oil in the same climate across town here. And I figured, well, if we see how many gallons per square foot per year the elementary school used, which at 43,000 gallons a year, and applied that to the other schools, we can figure out how much oil we would have used here. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So here we go. This is fun stuff. On the bottom here, the 67,000 square foot elementary school averaged 43,000 gallons a year. And if we apply that same math to the middle school, we would have used 41,000 gallons, because that's a slightly smaller building. And to the high school, we'd use 164,000 189,000 gallons a year. The district would have used $189,000 gallons of oil a year on average, and that savings over that same period of time, 2018 through 2039, would be about $12 million. $623,000 a year we save by not burning oil in this district. So, I made this slide for you, Sam. So I wanted to see, from a pollution standpoint, what this would do and what that oil savings would deliver for us. So I looked it up on AI, which is a little ironic right now. That 189,000 gallons of oil would have produced approximately 4.2 million pounds, or 1,920 metric tons of CO2, which is equivalent to taking 800 gasoline buses off the road. So,
Wow.
16 times more effective in reducing CO2 emissions than if we took all of our buses and converted them to electric. So that's pretty cool.
I like the savings this way. I do. Keep those electric buses
Yeah.
in Albany.
I knew you would, Sam. And we'd still need air conditioning because the oil just heats it, right? It doesn't cool us. So again, an ironic AI use here. No, this wasn't the AI. Yeah, it was. This was the law that went into effect in September of '25, that schools have to take action if the temperature in a classroom is above 82 and can't teach in a class if it's above 88. And in Putnam Valley, we never have to deal with this because our geothermal, besides providing the heat, also provides cooling.
Exactly.
And a lot of schools around the state are scrambling with chillers and air conditioning units and windows and huge capital investments to meet this mandate and be able to teach their kids when it gets to be that hot. And so this is that. And I also think, I know there's studies out there, I haven't done enough research, that I believe it's true that students and teachers will perform better in a comfortable environment if it's not 85 degrees in the classroom. Now I'm going to talk about, here. Some people will ask, so if you switch away from oil to geothermal, does that increase the amount of electricity you use? So I did the math backwards on this. I said, okay, well, we have a case study. We have two schools that used geothermal for many years, while another school used electricity, and was able to figure out that, yeah, the high school and middle school did use more electricity per square foot than the elementary school because it was on oil. But it's a very small amount. It was about 10 to 15% more per year in electric use for these schools than the elementary school. So I did that math, and really converting the elementary school completely from scratch, we did a third and now we're the other 2/3, is going to increase our electric use by about 50,000 kilowatts. Sounds like a lot. It's about $10,000 a year, which is nothing compared to the savings
Oil.
we're realizing on oil, right? So now the electric use. So here's our electric use, and I did the electric use as a district-wide deal. Because the bills, I get about 30 bills in, and they're very confusing. So I just took the total kilowatts in that, so I didn't break it down by building. So before the energy performance contract, going back to 2014-15, we were using about 3.2 million kilowatts a year district-wide. That red line is what I believe we would have used without any of our energy saving efforts. And so after the EPC, it really was a dramatic effect on our electric draw here. We reduced it to about 2.2 million. You can see there's a little spike there in 21, 22. I'd like to blame COVID, but we did have which had a little effect on it, I think, but really we also added a 14,000 square foot wellness center and added 4,000 square feet to the middle school in that project, and that heating, cooling, and lighting that space costs some money, so increase the electric use there. But we did get it back down to a level, so we're about 1 million kilowatts reduction from where we would have been if we didn't do any of those savings measures. You can see in 27, 28, I have this wellness center. Solar is going to produce about 240,000 kilowatts a year. The 7,000 square foot solar installation we're doing on the wellness center. And then you can see that little tiny bump up is where the geothermal from the elementary school, that increase kicks in there. And then it should average what I show here, which is about 2.3 until we get some other stuff done, and then we can reduce this further and drag that blue line down further. So I wanted to look up, so that's all the good news. So I'm going to give you some bad news here, right? So I looked up what the NYSEG rates were going to be for 2026, because I did notice, and I know I've talked to Jeremy and the board a little bit about dramatic increases in electric pricing and what that does to our operational budgets at the school. And next year, they're predicting NYSEG rates to go up by 23.7%. This comes from mainly the delivery. There's a supply and delivery. The delivery expense per kilowatt has just been skyrocketing lately for a lot of reasons that we're not going to debate tonight. So here is the price per kilowatt. Now, going back this is what we actually paid to date here. Now, going back 2014-15, when I got here in 2017, we were able to negotiate a deal with Constellation to aggregate and buy electricity with other folks, and got that locked in at about 11 cents a kilowatt hour. And then I still have that contract, but it's just for supply. The delivery is the one that's exploding, and I can't control it. So this is what's happened. We went from 11 cents a kilowatt hour to 16, then 18, then 20, and this next year I have it at 24. That takes into that 23% increase that I showed on the last slide. That takes that into effect. And then after that, I don't know, I'm not an energy markets expert, but I feel like we're going to have continued increases with the AI data centers and such. So I'm projecting a 5% annual increase in price per kilowatt after that. This stretch that we're in right now is a 120% increase. And I know folks at home are feeling this on your electric bills, but when a school district with this many square feet heating and cooling and everything else, it's a big number, and you're going to see it. So here you are. This is the actual. These are the actual bills on the blue line that we paid per year in electric costs. I don't know if you guys can see it that well, and I can't without my glasses. But we were at about 400,000 until we did the EPC and reduced that. That combined with the 11 cents kilowatt got us down to about $226,000 a year in electric costs. It was a little over $100,000 a year savings. It was produced by that EPC, the solar and all that stuff. Then, as you can see, as the pricing per kilowatt increases, I mean, the good news for sustainable energy is that the savings increases, but the bill also increases, right? So we're at a point now where we do have a savings of about $150,000. We're going to be up to about $250,000 a year from our energy savings, but we'll see the actual bills increase from where they were around $200,000 to about $600,000 a year. So it's about a $400,000 a year increase, and it's a big deal. So I see that like 4 teachers, right? So So I wanted to share this with you, and that's what I'm projecting, this increase over time. And thank God we did all that stuff. Otherwise, we'd be looking at, $900,000 bills here, $1 million bills. This is the funnest slide of all for me, because this adds up all of the savings from the geothermal at the 3 schools and all of our electricity savings. You can see the green is the electricity savings that just increased starting in 2018 with the EPC, and then you can see the oil savings at the high school and the middle school as well. And this same 20-year period that I talked about in the prior slides, from 2018-19 to 2038, this is an $18 million savings over 20 years. We're going to be saving $1 million a year because of our sustainable energy efforts in Putnam Valley ongoing. So I think that's pretty cool. So that's my favorite. So it more than pays for all that investments in the energy infrastructure here. So my conclusions. These are opinions here. That was all facts. Putnam Valley Central School District has made great strides in reducing its environmental impact and energy costs, establishing Putnam Valley as a national leader in implementing sustainable energy strategies. Putnam Valley has locked in tremendous energy cost savings and a huge reduction in CO2 emissions, future benefits of which will redound to the community with millions of dollars in district's operational cost savings, cleaner air quality, and reduced demand on the electric grid. Despite these achievements, skyrocketing electricity prices are creating an unsustainable increases in our operating budget, risking higher local tax burdens and threatening student educational programs. These are my ideas. I'm sure there's other ones out there, but I thought that I'd share. There's been talk of capping increases in electricity cost per kilowatt at a state level because of all these dramatic increases. I think that school districts, because we have to bear the burden of these increases in our operational budgets, and it really will either affect the taxpayers or the students or both, then they should cap the price that they charge schools on electricity. I'm saying 10 cents a kilowatt, and they should also incentivize school districts that reduce energy demand on their properties, and to promote both clean energy and reduce demand on the grid, which is one of the things that's increasing everybody's prices in their homes. And of course, that won't get done because I don't have a lot to say. But we can continue to act locally, and as part of our ongoing efforts here, we want to invest in more local energy production on school property. I obviously have some ideas for some rooftop solar at the elementary school. Solar canopies, we'll see, and some battery storage, some other ideas in the future. And I talk with our HVAC guy, Kerry, all the time about energy savings measures here without making it uncomfortable for folks. We on a snow day, we shut it down. When it's cold at night, we shut all the outside air off. We're doing occupancy sensors for not just lighting, but we're trying to do that in sections of the building for heat as well. So we're really also trying to drive down, with everything possible, drive down our costs of energy here.
David, before you move on.
That's it for the energy stuff, so yeah.
Yeah, pertaining to this, the solar canopies, we've talked about that before. With the parking lot being redone this year through the capital projects that the community passed, are you investigating those solar canopies?
We did. What happened was I had a lot of folks out here looking at that, and actually had what I thought was even a better idea, to put a huge solar canopy like the one at Croton's train station. Did you see that one down there?
Yeah.
Like that over the parking lot at the transportation building, because it's kind of out of the way, and if it's unsightly a little bit over that parking lot. What happened though, and we also looked at it out here in front of this school, but the cost of the steel to support those solar panels became cost prohibitive right now.
Got you.
And it just, we couldn't add it into, we talked about it with our committee on the capital projects, and it really, there were more important things to do with the money. So,
understand.
but believe me, I still have some, it's on the drawing board still.
Yeah.
And we'll get it.
I think that's a good way to incorporate, the solar energy into the community and also your buildings. The canopy, they use that a lot in Massachusetts. I've been up there in New Hampshire. They're all over the place.
Yeah.
And they
You know,
also,
our parking lots are here, though, they're also a little close to the schools.
Yeah.
So visually, I don't like, visual stuff.
They're not the
It drives me
nicest
crazy.
looking
So
creations, that's
the place needs to look beautiful, too, Sam.
thank you.
So, yeah, no, thank you. Any other questions on the energy stuff?
Nice job.
All right, thank you. So just quickly, our transportation team, the district, as you know, we have a hybrid system, and the district has 20.6 FTEs. That includes office personnel, drivers, and monitors. And then we have a contract bus company that has about 40 drivers and 8 monitors. We with our drivers and monitors, most of what we do are the out-of-district placements with special needs students and that, and the monitors obviously are on those buses to support those students and that. So they've been doing a really, really good job. This Beacon Mobility app, we wanted to just remind folks that this is an option if it's minus 10 degrees outside. You want to see when the bus is actually going to get there. So you can get notified when it's a quarter mile from your house, so you can run out there then. And you would need to have to apply for this app, you need to have a cell phone number that's in our system in Power School related to a student here, so you can't just spy on our buses if you're not one of our parents.
And I hear a lot of positive feedback on this Beacon Mobility.
I don't hear any negative, which is great.
No, in my area, Birch Hills,
Wonderful.
Crescent Lane.
Good.
They
use it?
The parents use that all the time.
Oh, wonderful. Good.
They love it, really.
Good.
They're able to park their car, especially in a bad day, really cold day. So be there when the bus arrives.
Right.
And they use that app to time it.
That's great. So
Yeah.
I'm glad it's being used, and I'm glad people like it. So you can, go to this will be on the website, and you want to grab this app, or you can just go on your app, search for BC Family in your app store there, and get that. This was Monday. So that's behind the elementary. That's behind the elementary school. Those tours too. That's on the side of the elementary school. Ray took those. These guys, you can see them in the back. They're working in the dark. That was Monday night as soon as the snow quit. These guys come in. I just wanted to show you what I know for me, because I wasn't here. but I just getting out of my driveway and my shoveling my walk was backbreaking. So you can imagine I just want to tip my hat to this crew, our operations team here that just worked their tails off to get this place in shape and get it safe for everybody. But I think these pictures, I'm going to save these because I don't know if we're ever going to have this much snow again.
Oh, hopefully.
This is our operations team here. Again, this is the same as it's been as far as the number of FTEs for a long time, for like last 7 or 8 years. So we're not having any more, no changes here, and they do a great job. We have a great culture. We're promoting, from within, and really having some new hires that are really doing great. And as folks retire, we're able to advance people in their careers here, and it's really fantastic. So, speaking of that. It's Carl's last day tomorrow, so we're going to miss him.
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just wanted to recognize Carl. He's a pillar of the community, besides working here for 32 years, and just a friendly face and a sweetheart of a man. I always walk away from every interaction with him usually shaking my head a little bit, but with a smile on my face, for sure, because he's so great. And he also, besides working here, before he worked here for 32 years, he worked at the town hall, and
right.
he did serve on the volunteer fire department. He still does forever, since he's 10, I think. So, yeah, I just wanted to recognize Carl. He's done a really great job for us. And that's it. Any questions?
Well, and I will say all of your staff does an amazing job, like really, like they take they take such good care of this building, all the buildings.
Yeah.
They really do a beautiful job, so.
Agreed. Thank you, guys.
Like, for example, this room is 25 years old, correct?
Yeah. Most
And-
people think it's like 5 years old.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, they do a great job with
The
the
buildings.
staff operations and the grounds and everything. So thank you, and thank you for the detail. I know it was a lot to put together, but it just shows your passion and just our overall savings and for the community, so thank you.
And David, your cost savings for the electricity, especially the oil, because that, not a good thing. Very impressive. And I know that you spearhead that.
Look, okay, yeah, I've been obviously passionate about it
Yeah.
and spearheading it, but, it was boards of education back in the 90s who had the vision
Well, Paul
to
Lee.
invest, and Paul Lee.
Paul Lee pushed that. originally.
My hat's off to him, because, he gave us a great foundation of sustainable energy to work from, and we just, this board and prior boards just picked that ball up and kept running with it, so, yeah.
And oil right now, you were talking about $3.30 a gallon.
I wish.
I just paid $3.94.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's gonna-
I should have made the
gallon.
savings more. I should have predicted 5. Everything, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Go ahead.
I just want to call out to Carl also, because he was here when my kids went to school, and
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know what it's going to be like to walk in the elementary school and not have him there.
I know, we're
So
gonna miss him.
congratulations to Carl.
Carl's awesome.
So.
he promised he'll come back as a sub. Don't worry, we'll see him.
You'll still see him.
Good.
So I did want to thank Dave for his tremendous leadership over his department. I know he probably quickly brushed over it, but our energy savings and the work that we've done here has now grown to not only state but national attention. Because of Dave's work, accompanied with others, Putnam Valley was recognized as a Green Ribbon School, which is extremely hard to attain. We were one of 2 schools in the state to receive that recognition. Was that last year? We were invited up to the state education department. We were to a Board of Regents meeting. We got to meet with the commissioner, and it was really a huge accomplishment. And I know through that award, we began to receive outreach from across the nation looking for information on how we were able to achieve what we were able to achieve. So as usual, leading from the front. And I know that Dave was recently featured in a publication dedicated to sustainable energy and savings in schools. And I don't know if you wanted to talk a little bit more about it. I don't know if it's even public yet.
Well, there was an article published nationally that they interviewed me while I was doing this work on this presentation. So I was really into it and gave them the data, and they were excited. So they featured Putnam Valley as one of about 7 or 8 schools around the country that did some work on this, and then that report was published in February, and then since then, some people read that report. I got interviewed. I came in during the snow on Tuesday when you guys were all home, but I was here working, and we had got interviewed for about an hour from a national editor of another publication, and that is, they decided after the interview that not only they were just going to highlight Putnam Valley as one of the schools that did some good work on sustainable energy, but after the conversation, she decided that she was just going to write an article just about Putnam Valley and what we do here. So looking forward to that coming out. And I think we'll get some traction and notoriety on a national level. I think it's happening, so I'm very excited about that.
Great.
Yeah.
Good.
Congrats.
Good.
So one other highlight just for Dave's staff. I know a couple years ago, which happens often, we have other school districts come to visit our schools, whether it be for our programs, our schedule, our facilities. But the school district was here for our facilities. And on their way out, the director of facilities for this other school district had somehow found out that I was the superintendent. So he went out of his way to grab me in the hallway. And this is someone who does this for a living. And he stopped me, introduced himself. I had no idea who he was. And he just said, I want to let you know that this is the cleanest, most well put together building I have ever seen in my professional career. And I would never believe it's 25 years old. So that, to me, is just a resounding statement to the commitment and dedication of our buildings and ground staff and for what they're able to do to this building to maintain its condition. So I do want to recognize them as well as Dave. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dave.
Okay, before we do student reports, is there anything you'd like to comment on either of the presentations, either the special ed or the facilities? Because we didn't stop to ask you if you had anything to say.
They said they're happy that
You can
heat
say
and
no.
air conditioning work.
I mean, I love the Rise kids. That's all. I'm always with them. They're great. I love that program.
Yeah,
Nice.
good.
Okay, so you want to do your report?
We don't have a whole lot to report on since we just had February break, but I noticed everyone was really well rested today and tan, so I'm jealous.
Welcome back to school.
Yeah, but girls wrestling is at States today, and I'm sure they're doing amazing, and cheerleading has sectionals this Saturday, which is really exciting.
Nice.
Would you know when the Aspire presentation is going to be, or Dr. Luff, would you know? I know they weren't able to do it because of the snow day.
Or Maureen.
Okay.
No update yet.
No update yet?
It hasn't been rescheduled yet.
Okay. We'll be informed when that will happen, correct?
I'll make sure of it.
Good, thank you, thank you.
He'll call you personally, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who did the snow closing? Either of you?
Neither.
Brianna.
You did the snow closing?
I did the first one. Sophia did the second
You
one.
did,
Randall's on
okay.
that.
Yeah, they were
You'll
good.
never guess
They were
who's
good.
doing the next
No,
one.
no offense to you, Dr. Luff, but
There's
They're
not going to be
hired.
next one. There's not going to be next one.
They could jump on the call at 4:30 in the morning if they want.
Okay.
They're only volunteering if you say it the night before. Okay, so the superintendent's report.
All right, good evening, everyone. Similar to the ladies, there's not a tremendous to report since I hope everyone safely found their way back to school today after not being here for almost 2 weeks. But I did want to recognize the 4 girls that are up wrestling at States right now, as well as both our boys and girls basketball teams had sectional games this evening. And so we wish them the best of luck, along with our cheerleaders, which are upcoming. Barbara and myself have attended or will attend numerous advocacy events with Assemblyperson Levenberg, State Senator Harcum, as well as an upcoming one with Senator Rollison. It's our opportunity to really advocate for changes to the legislation, for budget priorities to be made for school districts. Obviously, the more money we can get from the state and the more relief we can get from the state, the less we have to ask our taxpayers for. So a lot of the work focuses on that. We want increases in state aid, we want equitable funding, and we want to preserve public education. So those are great opportunities. We're thankful for the legislators and senators to make themselves available to us, and that work will continue tomorrow for the last one. I know there's been a lot of talk in the community about the senior tax exemptions. I wanted to talk a little bit about that. Well, first, I'm proud to announce that Putnam Valley currently has a 50% senior tax reduction, a maximum amount, and that is something that will continue moving forward. In a meeting this morning, I spoke with fellow superintendents from around the region, and I'm happy to report that Putnam Valley is on pace to be the first district, or one of the first, to approve the newly proposed senior tax exemption. No other district in the region had reported even approving, and many have not even started having conversations about this. A quick little background: on December 6th, Governor Hochul announced this new tax exemption, much to our surprise. There was no warning it was coming. It simply arrived as a press release. Our very dedicated public board meeting attendee, Mr. Joe Ferrara, brought it to our attention on December 11th, 5 days after the governor announced it. And our outreach and communication began on December 12th, is when we started emailing the town of Putnam Valley to seek the information that we needed to do our analysis to determine what the actual impact would be. For those who maybe are not involved, just a quick summary. The senior tax exemption based upon income levels determines a percentage of an individual's assessed value of their home that they will not be taxed on. But it is not a savings to the community. What it is a tax redistribution. So while the seniors, rightfully so, receive a discount on their taxes, that discount is paid for by the other community members who do not qualify for that exemption. So it's not a break. It's not like the state's cutting us a check and making up the difference. We're all for that if we can get that to happen. So I don't know, Sam, if you know what the state, if they want to pay for the senior citizen tax exemption, we would appreciate that. Rather than us do it. No. But it's a great thing, and it's something that we're happy to do. We do it for our veterans, we do it for our first responders, we do it for our senior citizens, all the individuals that deserve a break, and that redistribution is paid for by the other community members. So while a public board has to approve this resolution for the senior tax exemption, it is imperative that we know what the impact will be on the rest of the taxpaying community. And that's the work that we are currently undergoing to be able to provide an informed opinion as to what the impact of this redistribution will be, not just on the senior citizens that'll be saving, but on the rest of the community that'll be paying for that savings. So while I fully expect it to happen, we're not ready for it right now. We're actually still awaiting the data so we could do our analysis. But we have requested in writing, as well as on a phone call, for the town of Putnam Valley to grant us an extension. That extension would allow us to meet our filing deadline for this upcoming tax year, and there would be no delay in implementing it, but would provide us the time to do an actual analysis as to what the impact would be on all taxpayers within the community. So while we're hopeful that the town will be able to grant us that extension, we'll be able to have the time necessary to receive the data we need to do our analysis so the board can make an informed decision. And when that is all done, Putnam Valley will once again be at the forefront and leader in the neighborhood, in the region, by being the first school district to pass this new exemption. Moving on. I did want to quickly recognize that we have used 6 snow days, 3 of them this week. So that has essentially exhausted all of our calendared snow days, although there is some debate as to how Monday will be treated. But I did more so, rather than focus on the snow days, I do want to recognize the efforts of the district and town staff during these days. I live close enough where I have the ability, and I kind of like driving in the snow, to go over and visit our campuses during snow days. They were there for about 10 hours before I arrived on Monday, and there was still feet of snow across the parking lot. Many had been there from before it was light, and they had worked nonstop for the duration of the day because they take great pride in our ability to open our schools. And I know that our town highway department does as well. I know for a fact, as I was at the high school, middle school campus, there was a town plow truck stuck on essentially on a 45-degree angle on Foothill, nearly tipped over. And it just was a reminder of the hazards that these individuals face as they're plowing this narrow, steep, and dark roads of Putnam Valley to try to get us reopened. So while it was unfortunate we had to use 3 snow days this week, we made every effort possible to get into school because we don't want to use those snow days if we don't need to. But I don't want to think that it was not for the efforts of our staff as well as the town staff to doing everything possible to get our roads clear, our parking lots clear, our sidewalks clear, so that we could resume to instruction as we normally do.
Dr. Luff, what's the impact on vacation days or anything like that?
So far, 0, because we had 6 snow days budgeted.
We
But
did?
Yes.
Okay.
But now we're reaching the point where we either need to transition to remote instruction days, which I'm in conversations with the teachers union regarding what that would look like, or we would start to lose vacation days moving forward.
Thank you.
Some of the upcoming events, we have our Young Artist Night that was originally scheduled for Tompkins Cultural Center because of the massive amounts of snow and lack of parking has been moved here to the Performing Arts Center. So that's on February 28th, Young Artist Night sponsored by the Putnam Valley Education Foundation. Our science research students have their practice night scheduled for March 4th. If you want to be blown away by high school students, I encourage anyone in the community to attend. You would be amazed that high school students are essentially doing doctorate level research as juniors and seniors. March 13th, our elementary school musical, Schoolhouse Rock, And March 20th, 21st, and 22nd, our middle school musical, Once Upon a Mattress. And that's it. Thank you.
Did we also had a swimmer go to states?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Reswicki went to States, but I don't know if he raced or not yet. I'll have to find that out.
We don't know how the girls did, the wrestling yet.
I mean, I do, but
Okay. Oh.
But you're
I
not going
guess
to tell us.
Talina Gritz finished 4th in New York State for her weight class.
Nice.
So the others battled strong, but did not finish on top. But Delina, I know, did finish 4th. I was getting updates throughout the day from our athletic director. And if we really want to be a buzzkill, both the boys and girls basketball teams lost their sectional games this evening. Sorry.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, under new business, the first action item, please.
Yes, resolved on the recommendation of the superintendent of schools to accept the resignation of Christina Turner from her position as teacher aide effective February 13, 2026, to accept the position as teaching assistant previously appointed at the board's meeting of February 12, 2026. Excuse me, as per document 144/26 attached to the agenda and official minutes of this meeting.
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The resolution passes. Number 2, please.
All right. Whereas the Board of Education Board has received notice that several attorneys who have served as counsel to the district through Shaw, Perelson, May, and Lambert LLP will be departing that firm during the period December 31st, 2025 through March 31st, 2026. And whereas the board recognizes that under the New York Rules of Professional Conduct, the district has the exclusive right to select its legal counsel and to determine whether to continue representation with Shaw, Perelson, May, and Lambert LLP, or transition representation to other counsel. And whereas the board has reviewed its options and determined that it is in the best interest of the district to appoint Keen and Bean, PC, to serve as legal counsel for the district. And now, therefore, be it resolved that, effective April 1st, 2026, the rights and obligations of Shaw, Perelson, May, and Lambert, pursuant to the retainer agreement presently in effect, be terminated, and be it further resolved that the Board of Education of the Putnam Valley Central School District hereby appoints Keen and Bean, PC, as legal counsel for the district, effective April 1st, 2026, subject to the execution of an engagement letter or retainer agreement in a form acceptable to the superintendent and board president, and be it further resolved that the board authorizes and directs the superintendent and district administration to immediately take all necessary steps to ensure an orderly transition of all relevant legal matters, including the transfer of files, records, and work product from Shaw, Perelson, May, and Lambert LLP to Keen and Bean, PC, consistent with applicable laws, regulations, and professional obligations.
Second.
Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The resolution passes. Okay, I'd like to open it now for public comment on any topic.
Hi, good evening. My name is Patty Villanova. I live in Lookout Manor. I'd like to comment on the senior citizen exemption and to address some of the inaccuracies that Dr. Luff just said. First of all, maybe with all the money that you're saving with the electricity, you could put that towards the tremendous cost it's going to be for the senior exemption. You know, Mr. Luft, I can't wait until you're a senior. And the way you put that was so demeaning and insulting. Why are you pitting one part of this community against another? But let me get to the truth of the matter. You even admitted that you found out about this in December. You bragged about it. The absolute deadline for this to be done is March 1st. This is the last possible meeting. The town cannot give you an exemption. That date, those state dates are state mandated, okay? The town cannot give you an exemption. The other thing was that Mrs. Parmalee, you said something about that there was a law that requires 5 days and you can't vote tonight. First of all, this should have been done months ago instead of waiting till the very last minute, because it's clear you just don't want to do it. And just to be accurate, the senior citizen exemption is one of hundreds of exemptions. There are people in the town of Putnam Valley who get exemptions or discounts on their taxes. They include volunteer firefighters. They include veterans. They include people with disabilities. The state of New York, I mean, the list, if you look up exemptions, it's amazing that anyone pays any taxes. However, unlike the senior citizen exemption, those other exemptions are not means tested, okay? The senior exemption is the only exemption that is strictly means tested, narrowly focused, and limited to a very small number of homeowners who are least able to absorb these skyrocketing taxes. Before you claim that this will be a burden on the other taxpayers, let's be honest. You don't even know yet what the fiscal impact is, but we do know it is not in the millions. And in a district with a budget of over 60 million, the cost of helping a handful of low-income seniors to stay in their homes is negligible, especially when compared to the long-term benefits. Seniors are a bargain for the district. We require few services, and we do not have children in the district. I know that if I move out of my house, a family will no doubt move in with children. There's no doubt about it. I have a good-sized house. Those children will be a cost to the taxpayers of way more than whatever little amount that I'm going to get deducted from my taxes. This isn't just sound fiscal policy. It's stability for the community. It shows that there will be a steadier budget. There's stronger neighborhoods. There's a lot of things that this does. But to set this up as somehow the seniors, if you give us this little, it's not even going to cost that much more. I mean, you already have 50% as the top tier. It's going to go 15% more to 65%. This district, you spend money like last year, you were going to spend $700,000 on one room. And you really are not even embarrassed that you're going to quibble about this? You deliberately waited until the last minute to have this meeting tonight. It wasn't on any of the agendas, okay? And Mr. Oliverio, you said you were going to get on this.
I have.
We have been. What is the problem? I mean, why do you want to treat seniors like this? Someday you guys are going to. You think you don't get old? I mean, really? I guess. So, you really are doing a disservice. You waited until the last minute. There is no extension of time. It's state mandated. So in effect, what you did was you took a political way out. I guess you figure those people will vote for you or your budget or whatever, and instead you demean the seniors. It's really disgraceful, Mr. Luft. It really is. And but I guess, that's kind of what I can. Anyway, so, that's it. You're not going to do it. Basically, it's too late. So
just for a matter of public record, I will correct the inaccuracies that were just stated. Each local municipality determines the date. The town of Putnam Valley, the date is March 1st. The town of Cortland is May 1st. So actually, if the board did approve it, it would benefit the Cortland town senior citizens that qualify. Towns do have the ability to extend the deadline. That's a matter of legal opinion of the district, and it is not a state mandated deadline referenced by the fact that different towns have different deadlines for when it's due. For specifically, the town of Cortland is May 1st, as is many of the other communities within the town. Regarding the thought that the district is too cheap to pay for this, it's a matter of fact, this costs the district $0. The district does not pay a penny more if the senior citizens are granted this exemption. It is also a matter of fact that any dollar savings that the seniors receive is paid for by other taxpayers. So that's not pitting one side of the community versus the others. It's simply stating a fact, right? The tax savings for one group becomes the tax burden on the other group. And in no way referenced it not being appropriate. In fact, Putnam Valley is you had your chance. Putnam Valley was one of the first in the region to reach the maximum of 50% deduction. So if the district had no interest in benefiting our seniors, why would we have that? There's other districts that are still struggling to even get to the 50% that's already existing here in Putnam Valley. And as I said before, it is my belief that Putnam Valley would be the first district in the entire region to reach the 65% threshold. While maybe not on your timeline, we'll still be the first in the region. So again, speaks to the fact that this board is dedicated and this district is dedicated to finding any opportunity we can to benefit the seniors, who we are greatly thankful of. We look at the statistics every year when we vote, and the reality is our voters age 55 and older overwhelmingly represent the most votes cast, and which means that they vote in favor of our school budget year after year, because that voting block, if they voted it down, they have such a substantial share of votes that no other age group would be able to overwhelm them. So we are greatly appreciative of the seniors that live in this community, and they are the ones who make sure that our budgets are passed and make sure that we're able to sustain our programs. And again, that's a statement of fact, because we know that the number of voters we have aged in that group. So while I appreciate you coming to speak, the facts do matter. So I want to make sure, for a matter of public record, that those facts are in fact out there. Thank you. Oh, sorry. And I do have the 2 legal opinions, volume 5 of the council, volume number 2, and 8th volume of the council, volume number 84. Were both provided by our legal attorneys that speak to the legal requirement for the district to have a 5-day hearing, and I'll make sure that Ms. Parmalee sends those along to you so you can reference where that came from.
Fun times, fun times. On the senior exemption.
Your name, please?
I'm sorry, Joe Ferraro. I'm wearing multiple hats right this second. I wanted to mention, I think, and I don't know the legalities of what a school district or municipality have to do for somebody to apply for, though obviously the deadline in Putnam Valley right now to apply for the exemption is March 1st. Doesn't mean that I don't know that it means that the district can't alter what those deductions actually are after the application, because you still have to provide the same exact information for the 65% as you would for the 50%. I do think we're looking at, if I understand correctly, from when I went to a town board meeting recently, about 200 or so seniors qualify for any of those discounts.
I believe our number last year was 147.
So of
filed.
that, the lowest income string, you're probably talking a few dozen. So the impact is on, and again, and I won't say only, but it is the 15% additional discount on that. So I do hope that this all gets ironed out and put to bed. With my other hat, this is going to probably not be the best timing. But I'm now wearing the hat of the president of the Putnam Valley Library. And I'm here to share the Putnam Valley Library Board has adopted its 26-27 budget, totaling $624,466, supported by a proposed $514,500 tax levy in accordance with Section 259 of the New York State Education Law. In accordance with this statute, we will petition the community to place a separate library proposition on the May ballot alongside the school district budget and trustee vote. For the average homeowner, the impact is roughly a $7 increase for the 26-27 budget year, about 58 cents per month. Over the past year, aligned with our mission to be a hub of creativity, connection, and community, the library has continued to serve not only as a place for reading and learning, but also as a true community anchor, supporting students, remote workers, seniors, families, and many quiet users who depend on a stable, welcoming public space. As we shared in recent updates, foot traffic remains strong, programming keeps expanding, and community use of our spaces remains steady. Additionally, our community room is about to open and brand new and is amazing. This budget funds staffing, maintains our facilities, supports expanded Wednesday morning hours, and ensures ongoing programming materials and community space for residents of all ages. As always, we'll continue to be responsible stewards of this community asset and remain committed to transparency throughout the process. In addition to our monthly board meetings, which are live streamed on Zoom, we will hold dedicated sessions to discuss the budget and voting details in the weeks before the May vote. These sessions will give residents many chances to learn about the library, our programs and services, and this proposal. This proposal simply allows the voters of Putnam Valley to decide how they wish to sustain a shared civic institution that supports students, families, and lifelong learners alike. The library and the school district serve different roles, but we are united in purpose, strengthening this community through access to knowledge, opportunity, and connection. We appreciate the long-standing partnership and look forward to working together to ensure a smooth, transparent ballot process. The community can learn more at putnamvalleylibrary.org, or for any specific questions, I can be reached by email at trustees@putnamvalleylibrary.org. Thank you and good evening.
Thanks, Joe. I have to apologize because I misspoke, and because, as I stated before, facts do matter. So this is our current year. We have 147 senior citizens that received the 50% discount. So it's really that group that we do not know who would stay at 50, who would go up to 65, and where they would fall, because we don't have individual income information for those 147. We have 8 people at 40%, 2 at 35, 2 at 30, 4 at 20, 2 at 15, 1 at 10, and 2 at 5%. So it's a total of 168 residents received the senior citizen discount. With 147, the first number I gave is just those receiving the 50%. So for anyone who's following along, it's what happens to those 147, because we don't have names and incomes for those 147 people. That's information we've requested. We don't know how many of those 147 will go up to 65, and how many will stay at 50, and how many will go to 60. So that's the information that we're trying to ascertain so that we could be transparent with the community before the board votes on that decision. And that's something that we are hopeful to have that information in the very near future. Thank you.
Okay, oh.
I just wanted to share some positive
State your name.
feedback, if that's okay. My name is Allison Haig. I'm a parent at the middle school. I have a kid in the middle school. So I really appreciate both of the presentations tonight. Ms. Estrella and the special ed team, we appreciate all the services that you provide to our children, as well as Dave and the facilities team. These clean energy upgrades are extremely important in improving the indoor and outdoor air quality of not only our students, but our community as a whole. And so I really appreciate the forethought, and we are the envy of many other districts in New York as well as the nation as a whole. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
One of the things you forgot on your list is that has occurred since we met last, was we met with the representatives from the town board. Mr. Brooks is here, and we met with Ms. Jolker, and it was a really productive meeting. We want to continue to work with the town to support one another. They were very gracious. And it was a really nice meeting. So we really appreciate you, and we appreciate that you're here at our meeting. Okay, any other public comments? Board member comments?
Yeah. As this board knows very well, I'm very much in favor of the senior exemption. Very much in favor of it. These are individuals who have worked hard all their lives to be in their forever home, and these increasing taxes that they face every single year, they don't go down, they keep going up, could drive them from the place that they love after having worked and raised a family here for many, many years. I get very emotional about this because I know many of these people. I grew up with them. And this exemption provides that opportunity for them to stay in that forever home. Without that exemption, many of these individuals on that list of 168 would not be able to stay in Putnam Valley. I'm also a realist, though, and having conferred with 3 separate school attorneys, one is my own personal attorney, if we had voted on this exemption tonight, even though I wanted to. But if we had, it would have meant nothing. It would have been voided right out of the gate. Also, there would have been legal actions probably taken by the state of New York against this body if we had attempted to move this forward. And being a realist and a person who has been tied to our school district for so many years, as a kid going through the system, 35 years teaching here, and now as a board member, I did not want to see the destruction of this board over an issue that we know we could not win. My one hope, and I mean this sincerely, is that the town can assist us and get that extension, because we need to do this. We need to do this. And the faces and names that appear before me when I think of these individuals who can only be here because of this exemption moves me greatly. So I'm hoping, CJ, if you could take that message back, that we get that extension. It would be a grand thing, a great thing for our seniors who have worked hard to build a family, to be in their forever home, and not lose it because we weren't able to do this additional extension. And the extension is necessary because the taxes keep going up. That's why the state implemented it. That's all I have to say. Again, it would have been pointless to take any other action tonight, and I understand that. And the board and Superintendent Luft is correct. It would have been just a ridiculous
Well, a couple of things. I do think that no matter how we personally feel, and each of us brings that to these discussions, we need to have data so that we understand what the effect's going to be.
I agree.
Like, there's not anybody sitting here that doesn't want to help. I want to help senior citizens. I want to help people struggling, but I have young families that aren't senior citizens, and they're struggling, and they're going to get something put on theirs. And I understand that, but without the data, I don't think it's fair for the board to make a decision without having all the information.
I agree. I agree.
And the 5-day notice, Ms. Villanova may not think that that's in fact the law, but it is. If you adopt or amend your tax structure, you have to notify the public at least 5 days ahead so that if they have comments, they can come and speak their mind. It's important for us to be able to hear them, but we can't hear them until we know what we're going to recommend. So, you're right, the extension would really help. Even without the extension, we may end up passing it, and I'm sorry that it will be another year before they get the 15%. Hopefully that won't happen, but we can only work as fast as we can work. If we don't have the data, we don't have the data.
No, I understand that, and the 3 lawyers I consulted all said the same thing. You cannot do anything with your taxable rates unless you have a public hearing.
Right.
Otherwise, you're breaking the law, and your vote would be superfluous. It'd be just absolutely useless. And I understand that, and I had to find that fact out for myself, and I did, and it's there.
That's good. Okay.
So I don't want to lose sight on the fact that the current 50% reduction
It's still in effect.
So
Yes.
I just did some made-up math, but I think it matters. So if an individual was scheduled to pay $10,000 in school taxes based upon the assessed value of their home, I have no idea how much your home would be worth if you paid $10,000 in school taxes, but whatever that is. If you qualify for the highest amount, you would now be paying $5,000. You would have received the 50% reduction. With this proposed change, the most they can get additional discount would be another 15% of their assessed value.
That's right.
So that equivalent of that $5,000 they would be paying now and forever, unless the board changes the current exemption, would drop by $750 to $4,250. So we're not talking about their taxes aren't going from 5,000 back to 10, or they're not going to go from 5,000 down to 1, right? They're going to go down, for this example I gave, $750. Now, I hope, and then there may very well be people that $750,000 is keeping, that $750
Right.
is keeping them in their home. But I can't imagine there's that many people in our community that are going to have to lose their home over $750. Or if they paid $20,000 in school taxes and now they pay 10, and that extra 15% is $1,500 a year. I don't want to make it sound like people are losing out on thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars, right? We're talking about, in most cases, hundreds of dollars. That would be the maximum savings that this exemption would provide. So I'm not in any way discouraging the board from moving forward with it. I still think it's a good thing for our community, but I don't want the sentiment to get out there that people now, we have for sale signs popping up all over town over $750 in savings, which is really all that this would offer someone who was otherwise scheduled to pay $10,000.
But there are some families, Dr. Love.
I totally appreciate there's some that matters.
But
I don't think we're going to
$700
see.
means a lot to them.
I get it.
Yeah.
But I don't want the sense to be we're going to
Demand.
have mass homes for sale and foreclosures. And again, as I keep saying, like facts matter, right? So this is an actual math problem. That extra 15%, which is the maximum someone who already receives this could receive, is hundreds of dollars in savings, which is meaningful still. But it's not thousands or tens of thousands of dollars that would be drastically impactful to many in our community. So I just wanted to get the numbers out there so there's a general sense as to what we're talking about and what we are working towards.
It also can be adopted next year. So it wouldn't, if they don't get it, if we're not able to extend for this tax year, we could potentially approve it for next tax year, correct?
Right,
Yes.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
In fact, if we miss the deadline and don't get an extension for the state, even if we pass it next board meeting, it would then be in place for the following year. It doesn't expire. Our current 50% one doesn't expire.
yeah.
And if the town grants us the exemption, we would be able to post that in a newspaper within the 5 to 10 days. You know, you have to post it in a newspaper and then wait 5 days. We would be able to do that?
Once
Before
we have our
April 1st.
data, though, we need our data to make our
Well, that's
informed
what-
decision.
you know, the data, that troubles me most of all because that should have been on our table a month
But
ago.
we,
You know, really, because we had word that this was coming out in December. You know, we knew it was going to happen. This board tasked the district to providing us with the data so that we could vote on it in a timely manner. And it's all of us. You know, it falls on all of
not
us.
if the next day they started to try to get the data. We couldn't get it from the town, so we had to hire a consulting firm. It was the week of
So you keep
Christmas.
banging on the
and-
door of that firm and
Yeah.
say, we need it, we have a deadline to meet. That's what upsets me. But again,
Okay.
we are where we're at. But I feel badly that we could not have voted on this tonight. I do. And I can't
agree.
be any clearer than that.
Okay, I skipped the top, wait, is there anybody else who would like to speak? You can say it again. We're happy to hear from you.
Come on up. We appreciate having an audience.
So this is my first time.
Yeah, just introduce yourself.
Sorry, I was going to start your name.
So my first time at one of your meetings. My name is Michelle Mendola. I've been in Putnam Valley since 1972, product of the elementary and middle school. And I appreciate what Sam had to say because that's why I am here. I am in a household, there is no children. We are supporting the school system, and it's important for the seniors out there to get this discount. This is something you guys knew about in December, so the fact that you're waiting on numbers of headcount now is very concerning to me as a taxpayer, that you don't have the answers that you should have had. You asked for it, you didn't get it. I think that's your job to do that work, to have the documents and the data that you need to do your analysis. And that's just my perspective, and I'm sure Mona Benny that matches the other seniors in this community. So that's all I
Thank you.
needed to say, but thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I skipped over the topics for the upcoming meetings. Our meeting, we meet on March 12th. Is that a Thursday?
Yes.
Yeah, it is, actually. And then March 26th, talk about budgets, right?
Yep, so March 12th is our next meeting, Thursday, March 12th. It'll be our budget presentation, so the first full presentation of the budget, and then a follow-up meeting just based upon feedback we receive on that first initial budget presentation scheduled for March 26th.
Just a reminder, I won't be here March 26th.
March 26th, right?
Will not be there.
Okay, anything else? I'd like a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night, stay warm.